Well, hey crafty friends, it's Hiedi Scott with DiyDreaming. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I am super excited to show you how to make two different styles of fabric loopy flowers. I don't think I've done these with printed fabrics before, but they turned out adorable. And so we'll be going through all of that step by step. And I'll show you how to make leaves. And then we're gonna put them on a project that I have back here, and we're gonna embellish that a little bit. So it should be really good. As you're hopping on, say hi, let me know where you're watching from. Feel free to ask questions, all that normal stuff. Okay, so one of my followers sent me this beautiful fabric a little while ago, and I had just not opened it or dug into it yet. It was Sue Pika, I think is how you say your name. Thank you so much, Sue. They're Better Homes and Gardens brand. I don't know where she got it. They're 100% cotton, and these two seem to be coordinating. So you could use whatever kind of fabric you want to make this kind of flower, but I do think the stiffer, the better. Okay, so first thing, I'm just looking at which ones do I have here. First thing that you do to make these flowers is you're gonna rip your fabric. And if you've been watching this page, DiyDreaming, for a little while, then you probably know that I love to rip fabric. That's kind of a weird thing, but yes, I actually do love doing it. It's oddly satisfying. Okay, so I'm just gonna take some scissors and do a little snip, and how wide you make this makes, you know, how big your flowers will be. So let's do one that's pretty wide, and I'll measure it when I'm all done. Okay, I've just taken a little snip, and I'm seriously just going to pull it. And if your most fabric that's going to be thicker, like a canvasy, 100% cottonish fabric, it will rip straight. So then we're going to have a bunch of strings to deal with, or maybe not even that many. So you want to remove your strings, and I am using a glue gun today, and it's my low temperature Surebonder Cool Shot, and it looks terrible. Let's wipe this off. I'm just going to use a dryer sheet, and it's amazing. It removes all the Duncan strings. Okay, and I'm actually using the Surebonder brand glue sticks too. This is glue intensive, and it's also a project where you could get glue on your hands, so I definitely recommend using a low temperature hot glue gun. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be folding this up, and then we're going to be slicing it. And then the way you roll it is what gets the two different styles of flowers. So I'm just going to put some glue along one side where I've ripped it. Let's see, how can I show you this? So can you see? Let's go this way. And I'll measure in just a second and tell you how wide this one is, and I'll also tell you how wide some of the other ones that I've made are. So you're just gluing like a tube, basically. And you don't have to be precise. These are messy flowers. So if it's not perfectly straight, it doesn't matter. Okay, let's just say for time's sake that was how big I wanted it. Okay, so basically I just took this and glued it, and we have a tube now that's glued on one side. Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to cut snips. I'm going to cut this end off because it's kind of fringy. And I think you guys can see, but hey, listen, if you're watching on Facebook and these comments right here are in your way, you should be able to swipe them either left or right or up and down, either with your finger, your mouse, your cursor, depending on what kind of device you're on. And then if you want them back, just do the opposite motion. Okay, so this is a stripe fabric, so I'm going to cut along the stripes, and I'm going to go almost all the way up to where that glue is, and I'll pick this up in just a second and show you. This is a good project to cut in front of the TV, or if you're watching a movie or something, because it's kind of a, you don't have to concentrate. And okay, so basically I cut all these little loops. This is why it's called Loopy Flowers. Okay, and let me find my ruler and tell you. This was about 5 inches wide, okay? I also have some that is narrower that I've already done, and it would be 2.5 inches wide before I glued it together. Let's see. I mean, they're just all going to be different sizes. So you're just going to glue your tube and then cut your snips. Okay? So let's put this one aside because I have plenty that are already cut and ready to go. Okay, so then there's 2 ways to do this. I'll show you the easiest way first. It's just rolling. And let's see. Let's start rolling with this. Okay? All you're going to do is you're going to just roll the fabric over on top of itself and roll it into a little bit of hot glue. I'll lift this up and show you in just a second. These are not hard flowers at all, so you can see the part that's glued, I'm just rolling it on itself and gluing it. So these flowers that you just roll, they stand up. They don't exactly lay flat, which isn't right or wrong. It's just what you want, what kind of flower you're wanting to make. Okay, and I'm gonna say that that's enough for the center because we're gonna switch to the other coordinating fabric. So I just snipped it off. Ignore the glue strings, they're everywhere. Cinch that down good. There are our little loops. Here's the back side of the flower. You can see that it's got some dimension. It's going to stand up. Okay, I'm going to take this. What else do I have over here? Actually, we'll use this little bit. And I just hang on to the little bits of it because you can just add pieces. It doesn't have to all be from one direct piece of fabric. So I just put a little glue on the base here, and I'm doing the exact same thing. Let's just roll all the way to the end. Okay, so you can either make the center loops longer or shorter. It's completely up to you. And in this one, I made the center loops smaller and the outside ones longer. So this was probably 5 or 6 inches wide on the outside loops, and then the inside was shorter, maybe 2.5 inches wide before it was folded and glued. Okay, so this is what I have here, and I think this would be pretty to add bigger, wider outside loops. So it would have 3 layers. And I've started on this one. Let me just cut a few more pieces and then we will attach it, and then I'll show you how to do a leaf, and then I'm going to show you how to do the other style, which is flat. I know this is boring watching me cut. I tried to work ahead as much as possible on this project. Oh my gosh, and we're going to be doing this adorable mason jar surface. I'll show you in a minute, so stay with me. And we're going to use a flower, or some of the flowers, I'm not sure, on this. And we're also going to embellish it with some of my favorite little squiggles and dots. It should be super cute. Okay, so let me just cut a few more little snips and then we'll add this. When you have a stripe fabric, it makes it easy to cut because you can just cut along the lines. When you're working with like a patterned or a solid, you can cut your loops as wide or as narrow as you want. Let's say that's enough. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so let's add this to it. I'm going to put a little glue right here. Lay that into it. And I'm going to put some glue down towards the bottom, and we're just rolling our little flower into it. And the more you roll, the more fabric you roll around it, the bigger the base of your flower will be. Can you guys see that? Who's made flowers before? I know a lot of you guys have. Hey, Pam. Oh, hey, and I forgot to mention, say hi. I'd love to know where you're watching from. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free to sprinkle. All that good stuff. Okay, so look how cute this little flower is. You can just make them look completely different. All right, I'm going to show you how I covered up the back of this. It's not rocket science, I promise. I'm just going to take a little piece of fabric. And I'm going to put a bunch of glue on the bottom right here. And then I'm going to, oops. Okay, that was a perfect example of how you're going to get glue on your fingers, so it's really better to use a low temperature hot glue gun. That just hurt a teeny bit. Okay, so I basically put my stem into this flower, or sorry, into this fabric, and now I'm going to cut a rough circle. When I say rough, this is rough. Doesn't matter because we're going to kind of fold it all up, and then we'll do the leaf, which I think the leaves add a lot to it, especially if you're doing more than one fabric. Okay, so here's the circle, sort of, and it's just glued to the end of it. And then all I'm going to do is put a little bit of glue right around the base, and I'm kind of pushing and crimping this up around it. Not that anyone necessarily is going to see the back of your loopy flower, your loopy fabric flower, but just in case. So you could put a magnet on here, and then you could use it on anything, any kind of metal. You could put it on a bracelet. You could, you could put it on any kind of a pin and have it be a sweater, a sweater pin or something like that. There's tons. of things that you can do. Yes, this is the same idea, Lorianne. I have done almost every kind of a DIY flower here on this page that you can imagine. Okay, so let's grab a button for the center, and I'm just doing black. So I think I'm going to use this one right here. These are all just miscellaneous buttons that I've collected. I love buttons. I love vintage buttons. I'm just putting a blob of glue in the center. I'm going to push my little button into that. Oh my goodness. I can't hang on to anything today. I'm so sorry if that startled you. Here is the flower. Okay, and let me show you how to do the leaves. So we'll do the leaves out of this fabric. And you can make them however long you want. This was just a strip that I tore. Okay, and I'm folding it over on itself. And I want it to be kind of stiff. So I'm going to stiffen it up with some rows of glue. And it will also hold the pieces together once I cut it. So I'm just doing a little zigzaggy thing with my glue and pushing the two pieces together. I think you guys can see that. There's no rocket science involved in making fabric flowers. And it's amazing how different they look when you make a DIY flower out of a printed fabric. I've made them out of painter's drop cloth. I've made them with lots of the canvas stuck fabric that I love so much. I've made them with felt. I've made them with burlap ribbon. Oh my word. I have done a ton of different flowers. I've made, not fabric, but just recently we did the yellow tissue paper for Cynthia. Okay, so I have this piece that is kind of stiff, and I'm just going to cut a rough shape of a leaf out. That kind of resembles a leaf, right? And we're just going to add it anywhere you want on the back. And I usually do 2 leaves. I think 2 leaves looks great, so let's do another one. For these dimensional flowers, I'm not pinching the leaves or anything because I want them to just lay flat on the back of this. I'm going to have some major glue strings to remove and melt when I'm done here. Yes, I have glue on my fingers, but it's low temperature hot glue, and so that did not even hurt. Okay, and here is this one. And there are the leaves. This is what the back of it looks like. Okay, and this one is just a different combination of sizes of loops. It has 2 leaves also. Wait, which one? This one. And it's a little, I don't know, the size of the loops are more similar. But you can get a completely different look just based on how you roll. Okay, let me show you how to do a flat loopy fabric flower. I'm just going to use this. Okay, I'm going to try to cut something that sort of resembles a circle. I always end up making ovals. And sure enough, I did another oval, so. It does not have to be perfect. And this is the base that we're going to put our flower on. And what I want you to notice is that on this one, my base was a little bit bigger. And on this one, my base was a lot bigger. So it's totally up to you how big or small you want it to be. Okay, so let's see. Let's start with, how much of this do I have cut? Let's start with this. And what you're going to do is you're going to put a little band of glue. Let me get my dryer sheet. You're going to put a little band of glue around the outside. I'll pick this up in just a second and show you. And you're going to lay the end of your flower into it and sort of bend the flower so it's getting bent and being laid into the glue. Can you see that? So let's keep going. And for this row, I just went almost way out to the very edge. Wow, thank you guys so much for the stars. I really appreciate that. And it looks like there's 576 eyeballs with us. So yay! If you have friends or family or contacts that love crafting, I would love it if you would sprinkle this to your social media so that those eyeballs can see this later as well. Fabric flowers are some of my favorites. I do flowers here every week, pretty much, it seems like. Almost all the projects that I do here at DIY Dreaming, they're either faith-focused or family-focused, or they're flowers. Okay, so I've gone all the way around, and I'm going to go around one more time, and then we'll switch. Okay, so now I'm going to put the glue right inside of where the outside row was. And I'm just going to kind of pull it down and push it into that. This will create a second row. And it's also creating a huge mess on my craft desk, but that's okay. I'm a messy crafter. Just a little bit further to go to get around. So there'll be two rows, and the inside one is just scooched over just a hair. Okay, I'm going to cut this off because I think I've made it around. Yep. And this is what we have. This is the outside row, and then here's the inside row. And don't worry about the glue strings. They're so easy to melt, either with your blow dryer on hot or a heat gun, and they kind of all crumple up and disappear. So let's finish this one off with some of this, okay? And just looking to see which side do I like better. Doesn't really matter. So now I'm going to start just barely inside of the last row. And I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm pulling it around and pushing it into the glue so it will lay flat, or as flat as possible. Gone around once. Let's go around one more time. And then we'll finish finish this one off, and we'll add a button. So I get this question all the time, where do I get my buttons? Because I mostly like vintage buttons, and I have found them at garage sales. I found them at different like antique stores. They're usually more expensive when you find them there. I've ordered some on Etsy before, and I've had some of you guys send them to me, which is just so incredibly sweet. I so appreciate that because I love buttons. Okay, I think I've made it around. Let's cut this off and glue the rest of it down good. So, this is what the back looks like, and you could come back and cover that up if you wanted. This is the one that I made before, and it has the leaves. So we'll make some leaves with the, let's make some leaves with the striped fabric. And then we're gonna hop over to this other project, and I'm gonna show you what I did. Oh my gosh, it's so cute, if I don't say so myself. Oh, and we'll do a button. So I'm just giving this leaf some shape by putting a bunch of glue down and pushing it into that. Tell me in the comments if you have made any of the flowers that we have done here at DiyDreaming. I've been doing flowers here for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, all different styles. And I just love flowers. Okay, so here's our piece of fabric that we can make leaves out of. And which way do we want the leaves to be pointed? I think I want the stripes to be going, look. I want the stripes to be going this way. I'm going to show you how to pinch the center of this one because it's going on a flat flower. And we'll be able to get it on there. So there's one. And let's do one more. I don't have a pattern for the leaves, and you honestly do not need one. Okay, so I have my 2 leaves, and I'm going to just put a little bit of glue in the center, and then I'm going to fold my leaf onto itself, and then I'll fold it out, and that gives it this shape. So let's do this one too. Okay, and let's pick a button for the center of this. I was playing with this idea that I want to show you of making one of those clear glass pebble centers, but unfortunately all I could find in my craft room today were these glass pebbles that have sort of a opalescent pinkish color, and they don't really work. But what I had been thinking, excuse me, was to do something like this. So if I find those smaller beads, we'll incorporate them into a flower at some point. So, what button do I want? I think I'm going to just do a bigger plain one. Oh my word, I have strings for days. So I'm just going to load up the center with some glue and pop my little button in there. Push it down. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to spread out the sides of this. Oops, it needs to go in further. Okay, don't stick yet. Yeah, so this is a very stringy, very messy project, but I think it's worth the mess. Okay, and there we go. So these are flat. Can you see that? We started on the base. This one is flat also. And this one is flat too. I'm having fun doing these. And these two right here are not flat. They're just rolled on themselves. And you can see they kind of stand up. They're both, you know, whichever style you like, or think about doing a combination. Okay, so again, thank you to Sue so much for the fabric. Okay, now I want to show you the project. All right, this started its life as a, it's like a mason jar, and it was a piece of MDF, and I got it from magnoliadiy.com. And if you want a link, just let me know, and I will get that for you. I painted this part on the front, just a white craft paint, and I painted the top part silver. Okay, and then I used this stencil, which looks cruddy, but I love it. It says, "Today is a good day to have a good day," and it has these adorable flowers on it, and like, I don't know what those are even called, but this is just a happy stencil. It's one of the ones that came in Craft Club. It was for the month of December, and this was the Craft Club thing that we received, and I made a few different crafts with it. I also made tea towels. And then I used it today with some black and gray chalk paste. Today is a good day to have a good day. And we're going to embellish. I'm going to glue this down so it doesn't fall down. And then we're going to choose the flower, and then I'm going to show you how we can do squiggles and dots and all kinds of fun things. It's a little bit shorter. I'm just going to pull some of the strings out. I'll tack that down so it isn't constantly wanting to tip over. Okay, so I was thinking that we would use a flat flower on this, and I have a couple of options. I can't decide if I want it to be a really big flat flower or something that's kind of more medium. I think what I'm going to want is something that's more medium, or this is just a little bit smaller. It really, my colors are going to all coordinate. That's why I chose gray and black to do this stencil. It's just your basic magnolia gray. It's called Cool Gray. And then this is black, and it's called Coal Black. These are chalk pastes, okay? So I think I'm going to choose this one. And I'm just going to glue it on. Now, where do I want my leaves to be? I think I want my leaves to be out. so you guys can see. I still couldn't see, I'm sorry about that. Okay, it's cute right now, but it's going to be a ton cuter. And we're going to be using these. These are my favorite little embellishing tool. And I use them all the time. Let me show you a couple examples. Well, this was something I made last summer, and I used a stencil on it that says Feeling Beachy. It's canvas that I traced this mason jar shape on, and then I made it a little bit smaller. I painted it, okay, stenciled it, and then I did my lines. So can you see? On this one I did line, dot, and we did this for the top of the mason jar, which we're going to do something similar. On this right here was a sign I made last summer, I guess it was, and I used the gold pen, and I embellished this just doing dots around the edges of my flowers and my butterflies. And then also hanging right here and super convenient is this one. I made this fall, and on this one I used the white, and I did dot, 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 dash. But I think on this I'm going to do dot, 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 squiggle. And so I need a paper plate, and let's see if I can bring this down just a little bit further. Okay, if I'm crooked, I'm sorry. I don't know that I really have a choice. Okay. And for this project, you can really use either the chalk paste or the ink markers. It doesn't matter. If you were using the markers on a piece of fabric that you knew you would want to wash, then you would need to make sure that you use the ink markers, which are the ones with the black body, and that you heat set your fabric when you were done. Okay, I want to kind of remember how I did this. There's the start of the top of my mason jar, and then I'm going to follow the shape of this. And then I'm going to do a line, dot, 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 another line, dot. And I hope that you can see just how much cuter it is. Let me move my flower out of the way. Just with these lines. And I think it looks a little bit more like it's actually a mason jar with the lid on. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments if you like it so far. So, oh, I meant to tell you. Okay, this stencil that I used was from the December craft kit. You can't order this anymore, but I'm going to show you some other ones that are great. But I just wanted to encourage you to think about joining the craft club, because for $20, you're going to get a great stencil that you can reuse many, many, many times, and you're going to get some medium, and then you'll get the surface to create a project. But then you'll be able to, you know, have these awesome stencils and use them for many other projects. And Magnolia has so many options for stencils, but mine all look cruddy because I use them a lot. This says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, Philippians 4:13. This one says, my cup runneth over, Psalm 23:5. This one one set, these are just a few that I just grabbed real quick. It is well with my soul. These are all faith ones. Give us this day our daily bread, Matthew 6:11. I love this one. I did a beautiful pillow with this one. I am a child of God. Oh, and then this one's probably the best. And also the best news. While we were yet sinners, well, this translation says still, but the one I prefer, the translation of this verse says yet. Okay, while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Romans chapter 5, verse 8. So then there's like floral ones, funny stencils. They have a ton of different themed for seasons, themed for different occasions, all kinds of things. Okay, so what I thought we would do around the edges is just do a little squiggle, dot, 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 a little squiggle, some of them longer. It's coming together. I'm going to do some more on the top, I think. And these markers, just so you know, they come with two different tips. Okay, can you see? They come with a chisel one and a round. And you just pull it out and stick it back in the way you want it. I mostly use the round. And if you find that your marker's getting kind of dry, you can just prime it by pushing it down on a hard surface, and that will cause the medium to start flowing out of the tip again. This is a great project if you are messy, like me. Oops, that's okay. I made a little boo-boo. It does not matter. In the grand scheme of things, nobody's going to notice that. Let me come back and make my little dots a little darker. Okay, and one thing I had thought about doing was to put a little black circle on these little, I think they're daisies, around the center. So you can add these to stencils, or you can use them on any kind of project that you maybe didn't even use a stencil, to just do whatever kind of embellishment you want. So, let's see. So, that was the project. These are the flowers. I'm calling them Loopy fabric flowers. And they are super simple, and you guys, you can make these with absolutely whatever colors you like of fabric. This fabric is 100% cotton, and it's on the thicker side, and I do think it works a little bit better that way, but you can experiment with other, any kind of fabric that you might have on hand to make your own thing. So I hope you liked this project. I hope you loved these flowers. I will get close-ups of everything. I'm going to fiddle with this top part here just a little bit more. I'm definitely going to make that top part darker, and I may color in a little bit. And then I'll put pictures of this here in the comments, as well as over just on the DiyDreaming page. I would love it if you would consider sprinkling this to your social media, to your Facebook page if you liked this project or think that you have friends that would like to do something like this. Let me know if you want links to any of the stencils or to the craft club membership. How that works basically is you get a craft in a box, a new one, every month, and it's going to have a surface, whether that's like a stack of books or a wood round or a banner. It's going to be all different things every month. It's going to have a stencil that I believe for the most part are going to be exclusive, and they have been adorable, the ones that they've used. And you're going to get a squeegee, so if you don't have any of the supplies, it's a great way to try it. And then you'll get a couple of packages of whatever the medium is. Like, for example, this month I got a sample packet of raspberry chalk paste and a sample packet of black. And these you can use on many projects. So Craft Club is $19.99 a month. You also have to pay sales tax, whatever your local sales tax is, and then there's a $5 flat shipping fee, but then you don't need to do anything else. It comes with an instruction sheet and a video of how to do it. And then of course you can put your own spin on it and make a lot more projects afterwards. So let me know if you want the Craft Club link, or if you want a link for any stencils or these puppies that I love so much, or chalk paste or ink or anything else. Just let me know and I will get that for you so you don't have to hunt it down. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you haven't already liked and followed DiyDreaming, I would love it if you would do that. So I think you can look up here somewhere if you're on Facebook, and turn on your notifications. And then I do have a text alert thingy-mabobby, and I shared that today. It's a pink image. So if you want to get on my text alert thingy-mabobby, where I tell you 15 to 20 minutes before I'm going to go live, you can send a text to that number, which I apologize, I can't remember what it is right now. What else? Do this, or say something in the comments if you want to increase your odds that Facebook will show you what I'm doing tomorrow or on Sunday for Christ and Crafting. And yeah, that is everything I have to tell you. I am loving these flowers, and I hope you are too. Oh, or if you want the link for this MDF mason jar shape too, I'll be glad to get that for you. Okay, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys later. Thanks.